Hey there! In this video, I'm going to show you how to process calla lilies. Calla lilies are, if you just watched the other video that I made about what to look for when purchasing calla lilies, this will be equally helpful in how to process them. So basically, when you get them in, they'll come in a bunch of 10, usually no less and no more. It's usually 10 stems. They either come in plastic wrap or just a little bit of an elastic at the bottom. And if you want to refer to what to look for when buying calla lilies, watch my other video for that. But basically, you're just going to want to make sure that they're super fresh and firm, there's no pollen on the stamen, and that the stems are nice and fresh and firm too, and that there's no mushiness. I saved this bunch of calla lilies to show you how to process. So they're a little bit older for that purpose, so I can show you some of the things to look out for. So start by opening up, cutting off the plastic, and set that aside. Put it in your recycling bin if you can, if you have that. And these did get a little funky and a little mushy. One of the stems fell off. So what I do is I run the stems under fresh water to wash any of that off. And after that, I dry it with a little dry rag, and I'll be right back for that. So we shall pretend that for this video I rinsed the stems, but if you can see here, that's what they start to look like when they get mushy. So you're gonna wanna really inspect that when buying them, just to make sure that they're not mushy, because that'll severely shorten the length of life that you get out of them. So rinse mushy stems if you do get them with a little bit of mush. Remove any of the dead or mushy callas. And again, ideally you have a super fresh bunch and that doesn't happen, but sometimes it does, even with fresh callas. So just to look out for that. Go ahead and wipe down each stem, making sure that none of that gunk is on any of the stems. And of course, if you got them and they didn't have any mushiness, no problems, then that's perfect. And you can just skip this part. Totally not necessary otherwise. These last two are fresh, so that's good. And basically, my tool of choice for processing these is a florist knife. I use I think it's pronounced Victorinox. Victorinox. I like the straight edge knife, and I hold the callas at the end of the bunch, down at the end of the bunch, and just make a nice swift cut there at the end, and put them in a vase with no more than an inch or two of water with floral food. With floral food, it's with the dry crystal. I don't use crystal clear. Why do I always forget this? Floral Life. I'll link it in the description below. I sometimes have terrible memory with certain things. So Floral Life food is 1 scoop per gallon of water. So for 2 inches water or an inch or so of calla, that's a very small amount. So I would just take a little tiny handful and put it in the water. You're gonna wanna use cold water and no more than an inch or two, because that's what actually causes stem rot and that mushiness that sometimes you see. So yeah, if you do that and keep them in 2 stems of water, they should last 2 weeks, maybe longer, depending on the temperature, depending on how fresh they are when your vendors get them, how fresh they are when you bought them from the grocery store. There's so many factors that play into why flowers last the way that they do, when the growers cut them, the season, the weather at the market, the weather where you are, and of course the weather in the room that you keep them in. So all of those things, but generally speaking, they should last about 2 weeks. Beautiful. And I will also show you how to remove any of the pollen from the stem. I've got a chenille stem here, and basically I just bend it in half so it creates a little V, and then I gently go into the flower and just brush it up against that stamen, and then on the flower as well to take off any little last bits of dust. I hope you saw that. I will do it up close again so that you can see. And here's the flower, and you can see, there we go, that pollen there. And I just take the chenille and gently kind of sweep it off. Very delicate, very gentle. And that's it. And then you have basically a brand new, fresh looking flower. How gorgeous does that look? Especially if you're doing an all black arrangement, you're gonna wanna make sure you don't see any of that white, fluffy pollen in there. Beautiful. And then of course, just do that for each stem. Another way, if you don't have the chenille handy, is just to gently kind of tap the flower. Most of it falls off, but you don't get the, some of the pollen sticks to the inside of the flower, and that's of course when the chenille would come in handy, because then you can just almost like vacuum it off. Definitely get yourself some chenille stems for stuff like this, and it comes in handy for millions of other things as well. So there we go. Try to use yourself, if you have a tall stem, Calla, to get an equally tall vase so that the stems stay upright and that they're not bending and cracking, because they are very delicate, mushy stems. So I think that's it. I think that covers how to process the Calla, and what I do then to finish it all off is spray it with Crowning Glory, or Finishing Touch. It's a wax sealant protector. It helps lock in moisture and helps keep flowers lasting longer. So I hope that was helpful, and if it was, go ahead and like the video. Leave me any comments or questions below. I'm so excited to hear from you and see what you want to learn about, so feel free to message me there. Let me know if this was helpful and any other things that you would like to learn. I look forward to you in the next one. See ya.